Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing What If Naruto was Madara's grandson. I'm still gonna try out where I put all the parts in one video, because I feel like that's just better. Sorry for not uploading over the past 2 weeks, I think it is at this point. I've just been really busy with school. I had spring break, and so I was just taking a break for myself and just for school. But now let's get into the video now. So the story starts off with a man standing in front of the nine-tailed beast. This man is Hiruzen Sarutobi. He is contemplating on sealing the nine-tails, since he knows that Minato has 3 newborn kids, since Kushina was given triplets, a very rare thing, and he wants Minato to be able to raise them. So Hiruzen jumps down to where Minato is trying to protect Kushina from the fox and trying to deal with the fox at the same time. Hiruzen tells Minato that he's gonna seal the nine-tails fox into Minato's children, so that Minato can live and raise them. And Minato says okay, as he's trying to gasp for air, as he's exhausted from fighting the QB for this long. Other Leaf Shinobi come in, but Hiruzen tells them to back away, as he's gonna seal the beast. Kushina still wraps up the beast with her chakra chains, so that way it cannot move. The Nine-Tails is struggling, trying to escape Kushina's chains. It knows what Hiruzen is doing. It sees the hand signs and thinks, I can't let myself be sealed by that old man. So he tries moving his claw, but Kushina's chains are too strong. Since Kushina will not be as exhausted, since Minato will be giving her some chakra to hold the nine-tails. Hiruzen first off gives Kushina 5% of the nine-tails, just so that way she can survive. Minato tells Hiruzen not to give any to Naruto. Hiruzen looks down at the children, not having seen them yet. One of them has black hair, with a few whisker marks and black eyes. He looks nothing like Minato or Kushina, but he remembers something when Minato was a child, finding him outside the village gate. And he wonders if this could be Minato's father's genetics. And he asks Minato if that one is Naruto. Minato just nods. He looks over at the other 2 children, seeing a boy and a girl, the boy looking exactly like Minato, with yellow hair with a few red strands, and a girl with red hair with some yellow strands. He asks what their names are before he dies. Minato says Menma and Mito is what they were thinking. Hiruzen nods as he seals the rest of the nine-tails in Menma and Mito. He splits it in half, basically. So after this, Hiruzen dies, and the village people celebrate the nine-tails' death. But they are not done celebrating. Minato praises Menma and Mito as heroes. Since Naruto doesn't have any of the QB, Naruto's suffering is really just not going to happen from the QB, punishment. We're going to time skip to 2 years later. There's a boy with black hair sleeping on the floor. This is Naruto. He is sleeping in the attic, since his parents practically neglected him. He's sleeping on the attic, looking up at the ceiling. He's freezing cold right now. Winter is the worst time of year for him. He has some skinny, ripped-up blankets and some old, dirty, ripped-up clothes. and it's really difficult for him to survive the winter. He started to teach himself some fire-style jutsus to help himself. Or he started to learn chakra control to try and help himself stay warm so he can do fire-style jutsus, but it's really difficult. Since Naruto is only like 2, manifesting chakra is super difficult, but he's trying his hardest. He hears some commotion downstairs and he remembers. And he looks up and realizes that it's day. Like, he must have stayed up all night. But then Naruto remembers that it's Mito's birthday. But also his. But his is never celebrated. Naruto sits down on the one chair that was given to him. It's pretty old, but he doesn't mind it. He looks out his window, staring out at the land. Contemplating his entire life and existence. He doesn't know if he should just kill himself since no one's ever seemed to care for him. But he doesn't know. He's really just thinking about, his life and what to do with it at this point. Since he thinks he should run away at some point, but he has no one to ask about it. He's heard stories of the third Hokage who sacrificed his life to help save the village. And Mema and Mito were the perfect vessels. That's why they're praised as heroes. But yeah. Naruto hears a knock at the door. He looks down and sees Naruto hears a knock on the door, as well as Kushina, Minato, Mema, and Mito. Mema realizes that's his friend Sasuke. He runs over to the door and opens it, and Sasuke comes running in. Naruto sees Itachi and Fugaku. Mito walks upstairs and throws Naruto some decent-looking clothes and tells him to put them on. They can't have him looking bad. And tells him to wash up and come downstairs, but he's not getting anything. Naruto nods and begins to wash up, and then puts on the decent-looking clothes. And then he walks downstairs, looking happy, since he knows his father wouldn't be happy if he didn't look happy. Itachi and Fugaku both can see through this lie that Naruto is actually really, sad. But they decide to just pass it off, maybe that Naruto didn't sleep well or something. Naruto then sits down on the couch, somewhat away from his family. And no one really cares that Naruto came down, until Itachi goes and walks over and sits next to Naruto and asks him, since it's his birthday, did he get anything? Naruto says he doesn't like getting anything for his birthday, but Itachi can tell that it's a lie, and then Naruto doesn't, ever really have a choice. So he just nods and says, oh, so you don't really like getting anything for your birthday? Naruto says no, since he kind of finds it kind of dumb that you celebrate your birthday, but oh well. And Itachi just nods, playing along with it, but he's trying to signal Naruto and some questions, but it's really difficult since Minato's watching. Fugaku also sits down with Mikoto and Sasuke, and they begin to eat. Naruto and Itachi sit on the couch and continue to talk. After around an hour or so, Sasuke and his family leave with Itachi. And Minato tells Naruto to change the clothes and go back up into the attic, that they don't want to see his filthy face ever again. So Naruto does as he's told, and he walks upstairs, kinda happy that he can have some alone time to read about jutsu. In the scroll that he stole from the library, he found out about a story, about a man named Hashirama and Madara. As Naruto reads the tale, he finds it kind of cool. And, he also learns about the Sharingan. Naruto's very interested about the Sharingan, considering that he looks a lot like how they drew Madara. Strikingly similar. If his hair was a bit shorter, and his face looked a bit younger, he was really similar to how Madara looked. And he kind of kept this to himself. But he kind of began to think, and he knew that his dad was an orphan, so he thought that maybe Madara could be his dad's father or something. But he just shrugged it off at that point. And he went out later that day to go grab another book. At the library, Naruto met with the librarian, who was always nice to him and let him read the books. Naruto said today he wanted to learn more about the Uchiha clan, since he wanted to learn about Konoha's major clans. The librarian nodded and gave him a good book that he would recommend. The librarian was an elderly man who said that he was around a little bit after Madara. That he was born maybe 20 years after Madara was around. Which means he's not too old, but he's still old, on the older side. So yeah. He tells Naruto to have fun with the book and read it. And Naruto nods and then runs off, saying that he has to go home to get dinner. So yeah, Naruto runs home, and once he gets home, he is early this time, since he doesn't want to get, whooped at all. And he sits down and gets his very small portion to eat. He eats it up and thanks his parents for the food, and then runs back upstairs, since that's what they want him to do. He starts reading his book about the Uchiha clan, and he learns about the Sharingan. And after doing a bit more research on it, he's kind of surprised about it. He doesn't really know what it is. He feels like it's really cool and wishes that he has it. So he decides to go train somewhere. During his training, he is really just training to manifest chakra, and he's really struggling with it. But this is when he comes up with an idea. Why doesn't he just train in the attic when he's locked up in there? Because Minato and Kushina only let him go out during certain times of the day, when Mema and Mito are either inside or out. Not out, never when they're outside, so it's a very short time. So he decides to start doing that. And he decided to work on more physical strength, since he thinks that will help him when he finally manifests chakra. We're going to do a time skip of 2 years now to when Naruto is 4. Now, after Naruto does physical training for 2 years, he decides to start working on manifesting chakra, and he is able to do it. So he immediately runs down to the library and asks the library for a chakra paper, since he wanted to try it out and just have it for when he felt like using it. Librarian gave him a few just so that we could try it out, and Naruto ran home. Naruto immediately tested it once he got up to his room, and he realized that he had 3 chakra natures. These 3 chakra natures being wind, fire, and lightning. He got fire from the Uchiha blood that's in him, since he's Madara's grandson, and got the wind. He got the wind and the lightning because I wanted to give him lightning and wind, since he had in the original. I'm just gonna give it to him. But yeah, so yeah, Naruto realizing this is very excited, since, yeah. While he was doing his manifesting chakra training, he was also once he manifested, he was doing chakra control training. But since he has Uchiha blood, I'm gonna say that his training is a lot easier for him once he gets the hang of it and stuff like that. And this is when after Naruto continues to train, his parents call him down one day, which is an odd occurrence, and they tell him that he can go out right now. And he goes out and he starts going into the woods where he normally goes. This is when Mema and Mito jump him and start beating him up, cutting him, and they even stab him in the leg. Naruto is not gonna fight back right now. He knows that fighting back would just result in more torture later. So he just takes it, and then when they run back home, he gets up. Naruto starts feeling a sharp burning in his eyes, and he almost collapses, but he tries to stay up. And he walks over to a river and looks into the water and sees a Sharingan. He's shocked by this, and he knows he can't tell his family, but he starts hearing footsteps of people coming towards him, and he starts trying to deactivate it. But these people are just Itachi and Shisui walking around on a walk. They see Naruto dripping blood, and Itachi asks him if he's okay. Naruto says he's fine and says he just got attacked by some random bullies. And when he turns around after thinking he was able to deactivate his Sharingan, he has 2 Sharingan in his eye. Itachi and Shisui are both shocked at this and look at Naruto up and down. Naruto says, asks them what's wrong, and they say, your eyes, and Naruto says, oh, these, yeah, I just found these out. I don't know where they're from. And, yeah, Itachi and Shisui both look at Naruto and tell him that he has a Sharingan, which means he must be an Uchiha. But it doesn't make any sense. They're trying to put the pieces together. And that's when Shisui says, what if Naruto's father, Mito, was an Uchiha, but he just never got the gene of it. And Naruto says it's a actual reasonable option. That's not that bad of a theory. And Shisui says we need to tell the Hokage this. And Naruto says no. He doesn't want his dad to find out because his dad will get mad since he has a power that his siblings doesn't. And his siblings have to be stronger than him. That's what his dad tells him. And Shisui and Itachi look at Naruto, and they just tell him, and they just look at him, like, kind of, like, dumbfounded, like, why are you, like, saying that? Just explain to them, and they understand, so they ask Naruto if he wants to train with them, or go meet their father, Fugaku, since he probably should. Naruto says sure, but only if he can learn how to deactivate this thing. So, Shisui and Itachi teach Naruto how to deactivate the Sharingan. And they bring Naruto to the Uchiha compound. Naruto just acting like he made a few friends. Kushina sees Naruto walking by and says, oh, that brat. Looks like he made a few friends. Oh well. It's not like they'll help him catch up to Memo and Mito. As Memo and Mito have been bragging to their mother about beating up Naruto. And she saw that Naruto had covered up his wounds pretty well, so she was happy about that. Proud at him. So yeah. When they reached the Uchiha compound, they brought Naruto into the house and sat him down next to... As Itachi asked Fugaku if he could talk with him and Shisui, because they had someone. Fugaku saw Naruto and asked them what they wanted to talk about with Naruto. And Shisui told Naruto to do the thing. And Naruto was like, okay, I'll try it. And Naruto closed his eyes, pouring as much chakra as he can with every bit of knowledge he had into his eyes. And when he opened his eyes, there were a 1 Tomoe Sharingan in each of his eyes. Fugaku almost jumped up right then and there, seeing that Naruto had it. And he asked how Naruto had those eyes. Naruto said he didn't know. He just said he unlocked them when some bullies attacked him. And Fugaku began to try and put the pieces together. And he began to try and think. But he couldn't come up with any reason why Naruto would even have the Sharingan. No reason that would make sense to him. Until Shisui said that their theory was that since Minto was an orphan and dropped off at the village gate, what if Minto's father was an Uchiha when they abandoned the Uchiha clan? And Fugaku began to say, but there was only one Uchiha at that time that abandoned the Uchiha clan. And Shisui and Itachi asked who was that. And Fugaku would say that was Madaras Uchiha. At least that's what our records say, and our records are normally accurate. Shisui are shocked at this. They don't think that Naruto is Madara's grandson. Fugaku asks Naruto, what? But then Fugaku says that won't work, since how would Minato have orange hair? And Shisui and Itachi just raised their looked just as confused as Fugaku is. Naruto is even more lost as he began to speak up. He said, "Whoa, are you saying that I could be related to Mamoru Uchiha, the dude that I read about?" And Fugaku asked, "What do you know about Mamoru?" Was one of the founders of the Leaf until he decided good, I guess. And he said that it was a failed experiment and that he seek to destroy it. So he began to fight Hashi. So he fought Hashirama Senju, lost, and supposedly died. He said he got a book about the Uchiha from a librarian. And Fugaku said that's a pretty good information for a 4-year-old to know. Naruto nodded, saying that he likes to read a lot since it's one of the only things he can do in his free time. But yeah, Naruto deactivates his Sharingan because it really drains his chakra a lot, even though he does have a lot of chakra from his Uzumaki heritage. But yeah. And Fugaku begins to tell Naruto that he should go home now, that his parents won't be happy at him being late. And Naruto looks up and says he's gonna have to hurry. So he starts running off. Shisui said he could leave walking Naruto home, but Fugaku asked Shisui to talk with him. Fugaku asked Itachi and Shisui to train Naruto when he turned 6, because he had a feeling that Naruto, he felt bad for Naruto since he was thrown in a really bad situation for his entire life. Shisui and Itachi, if they were fine with training him, since he's an Uchiha who can't be trained the Uchiha style, he should be allowed to. And Shisui and Itachi will nod, saying that Naruto is a pretty nice and funny guy, so they wouldn't mind training him. And also, it wouldn't be bad to relearn the basics since, yeah. And also, they want to train someone, or at least Itachi does, since he never has really gotten to. They were going to suggest that they could train along with Sasuke, but then they said, but then Fugaku pointed out that Sasuke may tell Memma about it, so they're gonna have to do it in secret. Really secret. But, yeah. So, Naruto runs home, and, when he gets home, Kushina is like, "You're late." And Naruto looks up at the clock and sees that he is just on time. But just on time to his mother is late for him, even if Memma and Mito are 15 minutes late. He nods and apologizing, saying he was walking around the village and he lost track of time. And Kushina nodded and told him to sit down, and she gave him his small portion of dinner. Tonight he got some tonight he got some ramen that was really not really well cooked. It didn't taste very well, but it tasted well to Naruto. Really. So yeah. After he finishes eating, he puts his dishes away and runs upstairs. And Kushina is like, "Thank goodness that bread is gone." And then she walks over to Memma and Mito and sits down with Mito. And she says, "Memma and Mito, tomorrow we want to begin our training you." And Memma and Mito's eyes widen, since they're really happy that their parents are going to start training them. And they said, "Without Naruto, right?" And Kushina nodded, saying that they don't need Naruto to begin their training. And Memma and Mito basically started saying yay, that they were happy that they could finally begin training. Since Sasuke said that his dad promised to start training him in a few months. Just physically, though. And Kushina nodded, saying that that's what they'll do, since you need to be in physical condition to then begin chakra training. And then trying to manifest chakra and then try and control it. So, yeah. But, This is when Naruto, hearing all this, just smiles, saying that those idiots are so far behind. And he just walks up into his room. As he begins to read more about the Uchiha, seeing that he now has manifested Sharingan, it should be pretty easy. He needs to learn more about his clan. And he finishes reading the book and says he'll go to the library tomorrow, since he can't go tonight. So he decides to just go to sleep. And he goes to sleep. The next morning, he wakes up to his door to the attic being slammed open. It's Minato. Minato throws something down, and Minato wakes up Naruto and tells him to come outside. Naruto comes outside goes outside and looks up and sees Dry and Tsunade standing there. And Minato says, "Do you know what this means?" And Naruto says, "No." Minato says, "You're sleeping outside until Dry and Tsunade leave. You're gonna go sleep in the shed." Naruto said, "Okay, can I move my stuff?" And Minato said, "Go move it quickly, you have 10 minutes. Naruto grabbed all his stuff and put some of it inside his, on his desk and began to move it. Minato watched and stood Dry and Tsunade. Minato said that they need to do a few renovations to Naruto's room since, he doesn't deserve to live in anything nice. And Jiraiya and Tsunade both nodded, saying that that's fine, that they can just sleep on the couch or something for a little bit. Or in, the living room until the renovations are done. So yeah, Naruto moves into the shed, and, since the shed has absolutely no insulation, it is really cold in there when it gets cold out at night. But thankfully, he's learning chakra control, so hopefully he can ask Kushina for permission to go out into the village. And he goes out into the village till till noon, then he comes back for lunch, and then he eats lunch, and then Kushina tells him to go to his room till around 1, and then she tells him to leave the house to go to the village. The reason Naruto has this schedule is because Memo and Mito are training, and Kushina and Minato want no chance of Naruto spying on them to copy the training, even though Naruto really doesn't care. So yeah. And one thing, Minato, when he's training them, he's still doing his Hokage work, but he's leaving a shadow clone behind to train them and stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah. So Minato, and so Naruto, when he goes out, will normally go to the library and stuff like that. When he gets to the librarian, he tells librarian that the Uchiha clan is really interesting. And librarian nods, saying that they are one of Konoha's strongest clans. Probably one of all time, maybe even. Maybe not if you count the Uzumaki clan. And Naruto asks him how the Uzumaki clan was so strong. He says that the Uzumaki clan was never actually... The Uzumaki clan used to be really strong. Their large chakra reserves used to make them very strong opponents, and their sealing jutsus made it very difficult to fight them. And Naruto asked him if he could have a book on them and on the Sharingan, since he found that very interesting about Madara. And the librarian nodded, saying they did have a book about the Sharingan and the Uzumaki clan. And he gave it to Naruto. And he says, "Naruto, you're a part of the Uzumaki clan, right?" And Naruto nodded, pointing to the back of his shirt. And the librarian smiled, seeing as Naruto is a very proud member of his clan. And he said, "Okay, bye, Naruto." And Naruto said bye to him as Naruto ran off with the 2 books. He put them in his backpack, which was pretty cheap, but he liked it. And then he ran off into the village. And they ran over to the Uchiha compound. He was going there because he wanted to ask Itachi something. And they asked him who he was, and he asked if he could speak with Fugaku or Itachi. And they said, "Why? What does he want to talk about?" He said he met Itachi yesterday, and he wants to ask him a question and thank him for, bandaging him up after he was stabbed. And, the person says, "Sure, why not?" And lets him in, and he runs over to Itachi, and he begins to ask Itachi And once there, Itachi asks him what does he want. And Naruto says that he if he could know the hand signs for the fire style jutsu, since I guess Itachi knows it. And Itachi said, "Oh yeah, I'll show you the Uchiha style." Shows Naruto the hand signs, so Naruto writes it down and thanks him. Itachi asks why is Naruto in such a hurry, and Naruto points up at the clock and says he needs to be back around 12. The time is currently 11:30, and it takes Naruto around 25 minutes to get back. But he wants to get there normally 10 minutes early, so he's got to get going. He says his farewells to Itachi, and then runs out the compound, and runs home. He makes it back in around 21 minutes, and arrives 9 minutes early, and sits down at his seat. Once everyone arrives, Naruto sees that Kushina made grilled cheese. Naruto's grilled cheese is burnt, but he doesn't really mind. He eats his grilled cheese and puts his plate in the sink and goes into the barn, ready to read his books. Once he reads a bit about the Sharingan, he learns that the Sharingan has 4 stages. Well, 4 stages that are known. That there could be more, they just don't know. They say the 4 stages are the 1 Tomoe, 2 Tomoe, 3 Tomoe, Mangekyo, and the Mangekyo. Naruto wonders what the Mangekyo is, but the abilities of it are unknown. So Naruto is guessing that it's an Uchiha secret, but he isn't going to ask the Uchiha clan, since if it's not disclosed, they probably won't disclose it to him. Or they may not even know, since Mangekyo is a very hard thing to unlock, since you either have to watch or kill someone you love. Naruto just looks at it and looks surprised, but he's like, oh well. So then Naruto begins to... Well, Naruto, after hearing this, begins to start training more, since he realizes he can unlock his 2 Tomoe from just training alone. So he trains more and more, and when his family is away, he'll train with, when he's out in the village, he'll train with the fire style jutsu. And he's able to do a small fireball, a bit smaller than what Itachi could do when Fugaku first taught him it. From that filler, so yeah. But yeah. So he has a pretty decent fireball, but he can change the size of it. So he can make a really small one if he just wants to heat himself up. So yeah. But Naruto is gonna try and is gonna go to the thing and ask after Naruto reads the Sharingan book, he returns the book back to the library and asks the librarian if he has a book about Mangekyo. The librarian says the last Uchiha known to have unlocked the Mangekyo was Madara, and Naruto kind of raises an eyebrow at this, asking how has no one else unlocked it? You'd think that someone would have killed their best friend or seen a loved one die. And the librarian says that it doesn't always happen when you lose your Mangekyo. Every time you lose someone, it doesn't always unlock. So they don't really know. There's no sure way to unlock it. So, yeah. And it's kind of been forgotten. People just say away at this point, since there's no war going on. Most of them probably unlocked it during the war. So, yeah. But, yeah. So, So Naruto looked at him weirdly and then said, okay, that makes more sense since there wasn't much information about it. And he nodded, saying that most of the information is unknown, or the clan just wants to keep it to themselves, which I can understand since you don't want to. That's a really clan secret thing. Naruto nodded. Naruto thanked the librarian and then ran off. Naruto then ran home, and he ran inside, and he wanted to ask his mother a question. He said, hey, Mom, His mom wasn't necessarily always the strict one on him. It was his dad who was really the worst of the worst. And he began to ask his mom. His mom still didn't treat him the best, but he still loved his mom. He didn't really like his dad. He asked his mom, if she knew any cool stories about the Uzumaki clan. And Kushina said sadly she didn't. But, if she ever finds any out, she can tell them. And Naruto nodded, showing her the book that he found about the Uzumaki clan. And she said that was really cool, and asked Naruto if he likes to read a lot. And Naruto nodded, saying that he likes reading about the clans. They're pretty interesting, like how people used to. That's really cool, and that reading is a really good thing for him. And asked him if he really wants to become a shinobi. Since she seems like he'd like to become like a doctor, something like that. Someone that, not a shinobi. He doesn't seem like the shinobi type person. Naruto nods, saying that being a shinobi seems just cool. And one of the reasons he reads about the clans so much is because all those clans are known for being really strong shinobi. And he really wants to, so that's why he reads about them a lot. Kushina nods, nice to understand. And Naruto thanks her for understanding and then runs off. Kushina says, "What a wild boy," and then continues to do the dishes, since she needs to clean the dishes for dinner. Naruto goes into his shed and starts reading. He's reading this book about the Uzumaki clan and learns about the clan and how they were massacred. And yeah, just all about that. So I'm gonna do a time skip to when Naruto is 6. This is when Itachi and Shisui ask Naruto if he wants to train with them. Naruto nods, and he begins to pour chakra into his eyeballs, and it turns to a Sharingan. But this time, it's a 2 Tomoe Sharingan. Itachi and Shisui are impressed and ask Naruto how he did it. Naruto said he was training with the Sharingan during the night and stuff like that, and he actually leveled it up to a 2 Tomoe. And Shisui and Itachi are impressed and ask him if he knows style Fireball Jutsu and the Phoenix Fireball Jutsu. I believe I think it is a Phoenix Fire. I think it's Phoenix Fire. No, wait. Hold up. No, I'm not gonna give him that. And he also says he knows, knows, what's an easy fire style jutsu that I want to give him? Actually, I'll just have him have the fireball jutsu. Yeah. And also that he also has been working on the shadow clone to the level that he could do it during the exam in the original. So yeah. But it's an actual shadow clone. Yeah, I think that's good. So yeah, Naruto begins to work on this. And yeah. So they go into the woods and begin to start training. I'm gonna do a time skip of a year where Naruto becomes Naruto unlocks his 3 Tomoe Sharingan, learns the body flicker, picks up a short blade. It's gonna be like a chakra saber, like Kakashi's. Sorry if I'm in a rush at all, but I recorded this part 3 times already. But the first time I accidentally deleted it. I was an idiot. And then the second time, well, this is my 3rd time right now. The second time, I used Splice to record these videos. It decided to do an update while I was recording, so I lost all my progress. So yeah. It's not Pog, or it just sucks, honestly. But yeah, so yeah. Naruto has his 3 Tomoe, a chakra saber. He, learned the shadow clone jutsu, body flicker. He got, taijutsu wise got better. He learned a lightning style jutsu I'm gonna call it lightning stream. where he puts a hand on the ground, he can send electric stream through the ground, electrocuting his opponents. He learned a bit about nature energy because he was interested in it. He also learned wind-styled air bullet, wind-styled gale palm. He learned a lightning style like Chidori. Well, he's gonna learn the Chidori since Itachi was with Kakashi, so he would copy the Chidori, so he'll just let Naruto copy it. And yeah, he'll also learn some Genjutsu since he's with two extremely good Genjutsu users. So yeah, he's kind of broken right now, but yeah. So, Naruto will be walking through the village when he activates the Sharingan like Shisui, since they were supposed to meet up somewhere, but that's because Shisui is in a battle with someone, and Naruto runs over to see who Shisui's fighting. He thinks it may just be a training session, but he can't be sure. He would think that Shisui would have told him, unless it's last minute. And there's also a lot of people there, and Shisui doesn't look to be in too good a shape since he's running. So yeah, Naruto sees Shisui all beaten up, but knows he can't fight the elite Fambu. But that's when Itachi comes in and saves him, so it saves Naruto from doing the decision. Itachi knows that Naruto's there and looks at him and tells him to run, basically, from the look alone. So Naruto begins to run in the opposite direction quickly. He ends up at a canyon. He thinks he's good enough away, but that's when Itachi brings Shisui there. This is when Shisui kills himself. All the same things happen in canon, and Naruto awakens his Mangekyo. Not consciously, though. He immediately runs home and runs into his shed and begins to start crying with his Mangekyo there. He's crying blood and tears. And he ends up Then Minato begins to knock on his barn door. Naruto immediately wipes it away and subsequently wipes away the blood and tears and deactivates his Mangekyo. He then opens up the door and Minato grabs him by the back of where the back of his neck is, grabs him by that collar area, and drags him into the house. Then he tells Naruto to sit down, and Naruto sits down. This is when Jiraiya brings up the Child of Prophecy. Jiraiya states that the Toads had a prophecy. The Child of Prophecy, basically, who will save the world. And Jiraiya says he thinks it's Memma and Mito. And Mito and Kushina both look very happy, seeing as two of their kids are going to save the world, as this prophecy says. But yeah, Naruto looks up and asks, and he doesn't even ask a question. He's just looking down. He looks sad almost. And Jiraiya looks at him and says, "What did you think, kid? You thought you would be the Child of Prophecy?" And Naruto said he thought maybe. And then Jiraiya just punches him away and tells him to go back to his little shed. Naruto just walks away. He doesn't really even care at this point. Naruto goes to sleep. He's really sad. So now we're going to do a time skip of a month. I would say around a month was the time from Shisui's death to the Uchiha Massacre, even though I'm not quite sure. And I'm too lazy to look it up. So yeah, but yeah. Naruto gets beaten up by Minato over this course of a month. And he was running to Itachi because he wanted to talk to Itachi, just because he knew both of them were going through some stuff. And he opens up the gate door and he sees the clan dead. He sees Itachi at the end of it with blood on his sword and blood on him. Naruto immediately starts running. Itachi knows he's there, but knows he just ignores him, since he thought it was just a random bystander and doesn't care at this point, since why should he? And Naruto runs back to his shed and starts crying. This is when an old man with white hair comes in and begins to start petting him with long white hair. And begins to start patting the top of his head, telling him that it's okay. And Naruto looks up and sees this man. Naruto asks who he is, and he says his name's Maru Uchiha, Naruto's grandfather. He says he'll explain everything to Naruto later, but asks Naruto if he wants to come with him. Naruto says he would like to, and he leaves with Madara, but not before leaving a note behind, leaving two notes behind. one for Kushina, who he knew would come out and check for him first. So he left her a note explaining why he left and all that, and not take the second note too seriously. It was just his bye. And Kushina basically got rid of the first note that he sent her, so that Mito couldn't find it, and read the second note out. The second note said this. The second note stated that he left because he felt no further purpose in this village, and that he felt no purpose for himself, and he was gonna go find that purpose. So yeah, that was it. And yeah, so Naruto began to set out with Madara Uchiha. And while he was walking back to Madara's den, he asked Madara. Madara began to explain to him about all how his Mito's father and all that stuff. And Naruto was pretty shocked about this. And he really was surprised since he's related to Madara. I think anyone would be surprised hearing that out. But yeah. So, once they make it to the hideout, I'm going to do a time skip of to when Naruto is to the till when Naruto is 12. When Naruto is 12, Madara is gonna ask him, does he want to go back to the village? And Naruto says no. And Madara says okay. This is when Madara starts trying to get Naruto into his little plan. But Naruto doesn't really show much interest in it. Naruto says he still wants to figure out what he wants to do in his life, but he'll consider Madara's plan. Madara smiles, knowing that will probably be, or thinking that that will probably be what Naruto chooses. But Naruto doesn't really know, and he wants his grandson to choose what he wants to. But he also wants him to choose his plan. But yeah, that's the point. So yeah, now we're going to do a time skip about 3 years to when Shippuden would start. And Memma does all the things that Naruto does in the series the same. So yeah. Madara dies. Madara is gonna die, and dying next to Naruto as Naruto unlocks his Mangekyo Sharingan consciously this time, and he gets Madara's eyes implanted into his sen, or just a random pair. Kind of stupid, but you know. And have Naruto take his eyes. If Naruto takes some eyes, and then he goes off. Naruto is going off to just find his purpose in life at this point, like Jiraiya did before the second or third Shinobi War started. I forget which war it was. Yeah, but yeah, Naruto is wandering, and then he hears the Kazekage, the Sand Village, was captured by an organization called the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki interests him to hear Madara talk about it, and at this point, he's decided that he doesn't give a shit about what Madara's plans are. He's just gonna destroy them, since he thinks Madara lost his mind, and he doesn't trust this Black Zetsu dude, and he feels like Madara is being manipulated. So he just decides to leave it at that, and then goes and begins to out to Sand Village. He's able to track the two Akatsuki members back to their hideout. But Naruto doesn't know if he really wants to stop them. He starts thinking about it. But then this is when Naruto begins to remember something. At the dinner table, when he found out Memma and Mito were the children of prophecy, how sad he felt on the inside. He had already been sad from Shishui's death, but hearing that really hurt him, and he remembered that. So he thought, he began to think to himself, he doesn't need a prophecy to tell him that he can save the world. He'll just save the world, and he'll do it his way. So he opens up the seal and enters the Akatsuki hideout just before the teams arrive, just after Gaara's extraction is finished. Both the Akatsuki members start laughing, seeing as one dude tried to come in. And oh, by the way, Naruto is... I forgot to cover this. Naruto is a mid-Kage level. With this scaling, or low Kage level, Miyato's a mid, Tobirama's a mid to high. I don't know. Tobirama versus Miyato, are they like this? I'm not a person who knows a lot about power scaling, so I should probably figure that out a bit more. But yeah, I'll say Tobirama's a mid. Well, I don't know. He'll be a low, but he'll be stronger than Tsunade and Kakashi. So yeah. Naruto then begins to... As the Leaf Shinobi arrive, as they see a new guy with a new Uchiha plating, a new Uchiha shirt on, that has the Uchiha crest on it, and with just some normal pants, like some normal ninja pants and some shoes. And they look at him, and they wonder who this dude is. It is long hair that goes down to, like, where his shoulder blades end. So, yeah. And it's like Madara's hair, but just goes down to his shoulder blades. So, yeah. Naruto then begins to point at the Akatsuki and says that he's first. And Sasori says that he's gonna kill him. And Deidara says, sure, why not? Why don't you deal with this midget, and I'll deal with those guys back there. Naruto said, sure, I don't care which one I kill first. But then, actually, Naruto then says, wait, I changed my mind. I'll take both of you on at once. They both said no, and Naruto said, I don't fight fair, so you guys better be ready. Then he puts his hands up to his mouth and says, Majestic Flame Destroyer, and then blows a fire-style jutsu that engulfs the entire room in flames, and shoots some out the back, almost hitting the Leaf Shinobi. Everyone is shocked at the sheer strength of this. Kushina also came along with the Leaf Shinobi. And they're just staring there at it, and they can't believe how strong it is. And then once the smoke clears, they see Sasori's puppet falling apart, and Deidara completely fine. Fine, except for a fire that started towards the bottom of his cloak. And, yeah. Then Deidara said, you really pissed me off. And Sasori says, I'm fighting him first. And he pulls out his Kazekage puppet and a few other puppets. And Naruto has ease with the other puppets, but he can't seem to fight this Kazekage puppet. It's really difficult. The Kazekage's technique is very difficult for him to fight. So he focuses on the Kazekage. And after a bit of trying, he figures out a weakness, and he's able to exploit it to kill it. Or destroy the puppet. Sasori, and with ease, he destroys the rest of the puppets. And Naruto says, why don't you use your real puppet now? And Sasori says, I'm surprised you knew about that. And everyone's shocked at this as Sasori Naruto analyzes that Sasori's weak point is he thinks that Sasori's weak point is the circle in the middle of his chest, since that could be where his heart is. So he begins to wrap a paper bomb into a senbon. Since he's going to throw the senbon into Sasori, knowing that kunai won't get through, but senbon has a higher chance, and then he'll blow up Sasori. So Naruto begins to fight with Sasori a bit, just to get his guard down, as he hides the senbon. Then Naruto clashes with Sasori, staying close to him for once, which surprises Sasori. And he flicks the senbon at point-blank range, and then there's an explosion, and it blows up Sasori. Granny Chio and everyone else are totally shocked at this, since they didn't really expect him to actually figure it out to kill Sasori that easily. Now he turns over to Deidara, and Deidara says, I'm gonna kill you. And Deidara begins to say that really pissed me off, like, dude, I'm gonna kill you. now. And then they begin to fight. And their fight has the ceiling collapse, cave in. So Naruto and Deidara take their fight outside. Naruto this entire time has kept his face from showing from the lead shinobi. And he continues to try and get through Deidara, but these explosions are making it difficult. So then Naruto says enough messing around. And he begins to start trying to save up his chakra to use up his, oh, wait, did I go over what he got over? I don't think I did, actually. I didn't. I've recorded this so many times, I don't know what is what. But yeah, so Naruto got, made a supreme, Naruto got Karin over the time skip. He got, better. He's unlocked the perfect Susanoo. He has Tsukinomi, Karin. He made a supreme Karin where 4 points of lightning from each side shoot into 1 point, then it has a big bolt of lightning come down, and then it forms a mega Karin that can shoot lightning out of its mouth. And then do all the normal stuff. He has a normal Karin, and then he has, what am I trying to think of? He got the chains, but he doesn't really use them at all, really. He got the Majestic Flame Destroyer used earlier, and a few other fireball techniques. And, yeah. I don't remember if I went over it earlier. And he's a low Kage level fighter, but stronger than Tsunade and Kakashi when they were Kage. So, yeah. But, yeah. Naruto, then began to point his hand up into the sky, and 4 bolts of lightning began to shoot down partially. Everyone looked at him like he was odd or something, and Mema began to say, so you're just conveniently sticking your hand up when lightning's gonna strike? And then these 4 bolts of places go into one center, and this ball of electricity begins to form. Deidara is staring at it and begins to launch an attack at Naruto. And then a bolt of lightning comes down. This bolt alone landing in Naruto's hand makes the ground around him crack, and electricity goes through the ground. Kakashi is shocked at the sheer size of it, and begins to pull up his Sharingan. And he pulls out the Sharingan, since he didn't have it out yet. He stares at it, trying to copy this jutsu. He doesn't even know how much chakra this would take up. It probably takes up way too much. He probably doesn't even have it. But he just wants to know it. Seeing this, a dragon head then forms. And this dragon head shoots a lightning bolt at all Deidara's clay. Deidara says and thinks about running, but then Toby comes in next to him and sucks him up into Kamui and immediately sucks him up somewhere else where he's safe. And Byakusetsu tells Deidara to run back to Nakatsuki base, that he'll deal with this. And Deidara nods as Naruto wonders why he's gone. And that is when Toby appears. And he tells Naruto to stop messing with the Akatsuki's goals, or else he'll kill him himself. And Naruto asks him to try. Tells him to try, that he'll kill him first. And both of them stare down. Then Toby says, how about we settle this some later time when those brats aren't around? And Naruto says, agreed. And then once Toby teleports away, Naruto collapses on one knee. And his hair blows aside, and Kushina can get a glimpse of his face. And she whispers to herself Naruto. And then Naruto teleports away, back to Madara's hideout, where he begins to rest and stuff like that. Once they're back to the Leaf Village, they report to Mito. Mito is surprised about this guy. But then Kushina says, this dude, he could be Naruto, since she saw his face and, everything looked very similar. But everyone kind of turns that down, because why would Naruto be an Uchiha? Everyone knew he had the Sharingan. Everyone knew that. Or maybe he didn't. But they don't know that. They don't know anything about this dude. So yeah. But yeah, Itachi hearing that some Uchiha wrecked Deidara and Sasori, realizes that it's Naruto and wonders how strong Naruto's actually become. So yeah. But yeah, while Naruto's resting, the Hidden Leaf begins to make, like, preparations for all that. Like, for, all the stuff that's going on. And, so yeah. Sasuke still leaves, like, in canon. But, yeah. So now, I think I'm just gonna go to the Itachi Pursuit mission, since I don't really feel like covering the rest of them. So yeah, I'll go to that mission, the other arcs. Or no, actually I'll do Asuma next. So yeah, Asuma. Yeah, so Asuma and the other teams are dispatched out to go hunt down Hidan and Kakuzu. Yeah, after they attack the fire temple. With their mission being to kill Hidan and Kakuzu. So, everything is gonna go the same as in canon for the first part of the arc. Asuma's still gonna die the same way as in canon, since I see no reason why any of them would be stronger, or why anyone else would get involved. After Asuma is killed, Hidan and Kakuzu retreat. Shikamaru says he wants revenge. Memma says he'll help Shikamaru get revenge since they were friends. So Menma goes with Shikamaru. Oh, and I'll just say this. The Tenchi Bridge arc would never happen since Sasori never had the chance to share that intel. So yeah. But Sai still gets put on their team as a temporary reserve for this mission. And the people on this mission, well, since Danzo wants to know who this Uchiha guy is, so he sends Sai out to find it out for him. And they begin to hunt down Kakuzu, the teams. Well, actually, Naruto and them, they have to wait to leave for a little bit, because Memma, Mito, and Sai, they have to wait to leave because Memma has to master the Rasen Shuriken. So, Shuriken, they then leave out for them. And everything goes the same as in canon until Menma and them arrive. Naruto is watching this from the shadows, not even being able to be detected by Kakashi or Kushina, who was the replacement sensei. And Naruto's watching this fight. He sees that Shikamaru's killed Hidan, and he smiles, saying that's the idiot gone. But now for Kakuzu. He watches as Menma fights Kakuzu with his Sharingan on, so that way he can steal all Menma's jutsu, you know. He's gonna steal his jutsu, so that way he can, yeah. So, he watches, and this fight's gonna go similar, basically the same, actually, with Menma doing the same stuff that he did in the original to Kakuzu, and winning the fight. Naruto's impressed that Menma's gotten this strong, but still says that he's not strong enough to beat him. and then just walks away. So yeah. So after everyone goes back to the Hidden Leaf Village and some time passes, it is now time for the Itachi pursuit mission. All the same people are sent out for Konoha, except, the people that aren't. Except Naruto and Sakura are replaced with Mito. So yeah. And Yamato is replaced with Kushina. While they're on the Itachi pursuit mission, Kiba picks up a scent that he doesn't really know of. But I'll just say they got a piece of Naruto's clothes from the fight back at the Akatsuki's hideout. And Mema states that it's the guy that he's found. And Kakashi begins to think which is more important, this mission or the other one. Kakashi then says that they'll follow his scent, since he may know more than Itachi does. And it's smarter right now. Meanwhile, Naruto is walking around trying to find Itachi and Sasuke, since he wants to fight one of them. Or maybe both. So Naruto then begins to walk. Naruto also cut his hair recently because he thought it was getting a bit too long. So it's pretty short, like around the length that adult Naruto has it at. But yeah. So as Team 7 or as the Itachi pursuit team are quickly following Naruto catches on to where Itachi's at, and he starts running over there. And Kiba says he's on the move. And Kakashi said it would be impossible for him to sense us this far out. So he then says he must be after Itachi. Or maybe he is Itachi. But he doesn't know. So they continue to run. Naruto is running towards Itachi, but he does sense some faint chakra behind him, chasing him. He grins and says, Konoha, huh? Naruto then stops, wanting to have a talk with Konoha. Konoha is catching up to Naruto. And once they do, they see an Uchiha sitting down on a tree branch, or a guy dressed in Uchiha clothing, sitting down on a tree branch with black hair, cut this time, and his face turned away from them. Then they see someone teleport in front of him. This guy is Toby. He's going to be playing as Madara. Toby teleports in and says that and starts acting dumb. And Naruto tells the Leaf Shinobi to fight him. He wants to see how strong they are. And that he won't fight him while he's acting like an idiot. So Mama says, why are you underestimating me? And charges up at us. Naruto is fairly unimpressed by this. But he knows that he also has to give Mema, the benefit, even though it pains him, because he doesn't know any of his abilities. And Naruto began to stand up. No, and then, they all began to try and hit Toby, but they can't. And then, soon after, Kushina really kind of stopped worrying about the guy, And then soon after, they got, Toby. Well, Kushina stopped worrying about Naruto, who is Naruto, and focused on Toby. And soon after, Black Zetsu appeared. And then Toby began to start speaking in his deep voice. And everyone began to ask who he is. Who was he? Toby said, I am Madara Uchiha. And Naruto started laughing as he stood up and pointed that Madara Uchiha wouldn't be so weak. And Naruto then began to say, anyways, Madara Uchiha was the one who raised me. And Obito's eyes go wide through his mask as he takes a step back. And he says, how did Madara raise you? He said, I don't know. He said I was his grandson or something like that. And Obito was just shocked at this since his cover is blown. He says, I know who you are, but I won't blow your cover to these idiots. Madara told me everything about you. I know everything about your plan. Infinite Tsukiyomi, how stupid it is. And then he calls Obito the biggest planet. You're gonna destroy the world because a girl died. And everyone is kind of shocked that Naruto is going this far and insulting this dude. But, yeah. That's when Obito says, I'll just kill you right now. And Naruto said, no, he won't. He'll let him through. Naruto says he'll let him do whatever he wants with Sasuke. He doesn't even care, since he knows Itachi would have purposefully lost. And that's what, after saying that, Naruto begins to turn around, everyone looking directly at his face. And everyone can clearly see the face that is a 100% match to what younger Naruto looked like. Except for a scar on his right eye, which they were guessing was from training. And, Toby said that now that since you know so much, now isn't the time for me to fight you. And Naruto just began to smile. As he knew that Obito... Well, actually, Naruto doesn't turn around. He smiles at the fact that Obito's saying, now is not the time to fight you. But why don't I reveal your true identity? Naruto sat back down on the branch saying, how will that even hurt me? It's not like I care about my family anymore. They never cared about me. And Obito began to say, is that right, Naruto? Or should I call you Uchiha, since you do have the Sharingan? And if you're Madara's grandson, then I should maybe kill you, since you're not following Madara's plan. Naruto says, well, give it a try. He wants to see him even touch him. And then Naruto just gets up. And everyone in the Leaf Shinobi are shocked. Naruto Uzumaki. Or should he call him Uchiha? The words the masked man said. And Mama asks, is that even right? And Naruto turned around with a grin on his face, saying the masked man was right for once in his life. Everyone is shocked that Naruto is Madara's grandson, more or less. But he turned around with his Mangekyo Sharingan activated. Kakashi says there's no mistaking it, and everyone says how he has a Sharingan until the masked man jumps at him trying to attack. using some wood style to pull out a bar and heaves it at Naruto. Naruto smiles as he jumps over the masked man's attack. And then he begins to, a blue aura begins to go around him. As ribs appeared and an arm appeared as well as a head. Obito stared at Naruto, knowing what it was. As then Naruto unlocked it, started using his perfect Susanoo. Obito even could use the Susanoo, or Toby could even use the Susanoo. Toby was on the ground saying, "Fine, you win this round, but don't think you'll ever be so lucky again." And Naruto said, "Okay," as Naruto got down from it, and they both began to walk away as Toby calmly lead away. Everyone in the Leaf Village attention had now turned from Sasuke to now just wanting to find out how Naruto got this strong. And they all ask him, Mama asks him, "How did you get this strong? You shouldn't be strong." And Naruto said, "Were you listening? Madara Uchiha trained me." And everyone is shocked at this, and they ask how he even is alive. And Naruto said he had a chakra tree that he could attach himself to, which kept him alive for a long time. Then they asked how he survived the fight. Naruto said it's a secret since he can't tell people like them. But he's gonna get going now. He's tired and wants to eat some food. As he then walks away towards the Uchiha battlefield, also saying that he may stop by the battlefield to see what the battle damage was like, since he thinks it could be cool. There may be something that could tell him that, since he wants to see what the battle was like of to Uchiha. And then everyone asks, "But why did Madara begin to screams while Naruto and son?" And he just jumped away at that point because he was tired of the shinobi. Everyone is shocked, and Naruto just reconfirmed it. He said it again. Kakashi said there's no mistaking it. Let's check out the Uchiha battlefield to check for him, and then we're going back to the village immediately. And everyone began to nod, knowing why they need to go back now. Madara Uchiha was plotting something, and Naruto knew what it was, but he refused to tell them. While they're running back to the Uchiha battlefield, Kushina remembers something. She remembers how sad Naruto looked, like the just appeared depressing look on his face when he learned out that Memo and Mito were the children of prophecy, and how he was sad when he came in that room. And then she also remembered Shisui being reported and committing suicide that day, and she remembers seeing Shisui walk around outside with Naruto, and he would sometimes walk him home. As she realized that he may have been friends with Shisui, and he may have seen Shisui die that day. And the child of prophecy was just more depressing to that day for him. As she began to kind of grit her teeth, since she knew she was an awful parent to him. But for some reason he still left a note especially for her. And she doesn't know why that is, but she just hopes that Naruto isn't up to anything bad. So, now, then Naruto, they see Naruto sitting on a pillar looking down at it. it looks like he didn't even realize they were there. It looks like he's analyzing it, trying to figure out how this battle went. Since there were two Uchiha involved in it, he wants to know how the battle, went. So, they begin to slowly approach him. As he's sitting down, looking down at it, looking from side to side. And then, all of a sudden, Memo feels like a touch. Jiraiya's hand on his back. And he turns around, not knowing what it was. And then just turns back around, saying they must have felt something. And then Naruto looked up over to him, and he waved his hand before body flickering away. Kushina was trying to put the pieces together on why Naruto would leave. Even though it wasn't that difficult, she was trying to figure out how he got this strong. Obviously Madara, but Madara had to have a base to go off of. He had to know chakra control, decent taijutsu, to get good with Madara. And she remembered Naruto always would hang out with Itachi and Shisui. Or just Shisui. And she thought maybe Itachi was involved in this. Since he seemed pretty sad seeing this battlefield and seeing that Itachi probably died. So, Naruto... So, they go and inspect the battlefield, and then Itachi says, "We have more pressing matters." And everyone nodded as they ran back to the village as quickly as possible. Once they made it back, Kushina said that she would give the mission report for everyone, since she remembers it really well. Remember, Mito stood in. When they entered, though, Minato said, "I have news. Jiraiya was killed in combat." Mama drops to the ground with a tear rolling down from his eye, and he asks why he sent Jiraiya on this mission. And Mito says Jiraiya was the only person I could send on this mission he was the person I could send on this mission who had the highest % chance of coming back. So, that's who I had to send. It's not like I ever wanted to send Jiraiya Sensei on a suicide mission, but I don't really have a choice. The Akatsuki are getting out of hand. As Memo would begin to start trying to run out, Kushina would grab him by the collar and tell him to quiet down, that they have a more pressing matter at hand. Mito, never seen Kushina like this before, and the face that she was making, sits down with her. Or sits down, and Kushina sits down. Mito asks what it is, as they begin to explain the entire mission. Well, Kushina, and she explains how the man that defeated those two Akatsuki members with ease and had a masked man was Naruto. And Mito got up and asked, how did she know that? As he looked visibly concerned. As Kushina then said, he turned around and we could see his face. It looked exactly how Naruto would, except he had a scar where he must have gotten cut during training once. The Sharingan, and he said nodded. Mito asked what Naruto was saying the whole time. Kushina says that Naruto mainly had talk with a masked man. This masked man claimed to be Madara Uchiha. But then Naruto struck it down, saying that he was trained by Naruto, and that he knows that he's not Madara, just Madara's associate. And that he knows that, he knows Madara's plan. And then Kuchina said it was called Infinite Tsukiyomi. He said he knows all the details of it, what you're all trying to do. Don't take me for a slouch. And Obito asked, so you're and then she would say that Naruto confirmed that he was Madara's grandson, before turning around and you could clearly see his face. As he then told, so yeah. Minato is visibly shocked by this. And he says this is not good. Minato says that this is not good, since it really isn't. Oh, and I forgot to say, Memma gets the crow that Itachi would normally have given to Naruto. So yeah. But yeah, Memma, Mito dismisses them. And once they get back home, when Mito comes home from work, the mood is very different. It's not really that Jiraiya is gone. It's the fact that Naruto left. That he feels like he's living a better life without them. Which Kushina probably is. But then, Memma begins to ask the question. If Naruto has the Sharingan, shouldn't we have it? And Minato, hearing this, says, yes, we'll begin that training tomorrow. But then Memma says, aren't I going off to Mount Miyaboku to train for the pain salt? And he said, yeah. Just try and do it there. Pour chakra into your eye while you're there. Try and do that. I can't even pour chakra up there. There's no, chakra path. Minato sighed, saying that they must not. It may not have developed yet or something. Kushina is dead silent during this whole conversation. She hasn't even eaten a meal. You just see her face. It's pure sadness. She's depressed. Really depressed. So yeah. But yeah. She begins to say something. She said, we treated Naruto so badly that he left with someone he didn't even know. No, because he thought it was better. And that man was Madaras, who was plotting to do something really bad. And he's now in charge of what he wants to do. And everyone turns. Now he can choose the fate of the world, basically. Because if he joins them, she doesn't see any way that they're stopping them. But then Memma says, but I'm the child of prophecy. And Mito says, yeah, I am too. Kushina slams her fist down on the table, saying, prophecy doesn't matter at this rate. Why should we even care if there's a prophecy? Yeah, really no way of predicting it. And with the way we treated him, he may just kill us all, and then do the genjutsu. Or maybe he'll have us be killed over and over again. I don't know. Minato, while listening to this, he really doesn't even care. But he acts like he does, because he wants his wife to shut up. And he knows it's difficult for her to accept the fact. And he thinks it's just difficult for her to accept the fact that Memma and Mito are behind right now. Mito says, don't worry, that was Memma and Mito trained to take that control away from Naruto. And Kushina nodded, saying okay. As Memma goes off to Mount Miyaboku, and yeah. Basically happens the same, since I'm going to say Mito is off investigating Akatsuki claims, saying as they said there were 6 of them. So he's there. He's not going to get word of the assault until afterwards. But Memma's going to stop it, just like Naruto did in the original. And Naruto's just going to be watching this one from the shadows. So, yeah. But, this is when Naruto gets up and runs back to Madara's hideout. He finds a Zetsu there that is spying for Obito. And the Zetsu tries to run. Naruto grabs it by the neck and breaks its neck, saying not to come into his home again. Obito at this point is fighting Konan, and we're approaching the war arc pretty quickly. So, Minato feels that it is time that he calls the 5 Kage summons. Minato does and heads off with Mito as his bodyguards because he wants his kids to come along. And when they get there, they all begin to talk. The talk isn't around, it's around the Akatsuki, as Sasuke had just kidnapped Killer Bee. And she's mad at the Hokage for not taking care of Sasuke. But then Minato says Sasuke is not their worry. And if Killer Bee was captured, that is also no longer their worry. He said their worry is that my son, Naruto Uzumaki, was trained by Madara Uchiha. And everyone is shocked by this, as their eyes all go wide, seeing as, how was someone trained in this generation by Madara? And Onuki says, how do you know? He said he was Madara's grandson. And since I'm an orphan, I can't necessarily strike it down like I knew my parents. And Onuki's eyes are really scared. And he said, so whose side has he chosen in all this? Minato says the side is unclear. We're guessing he's on our side for now, but he may just be playing us. Since he did save the Kazekage from the Akatsuki members. Gara nodded. But we don't quite know. Yes, they get the alert that Sasuke is breaking in. And, Sasuke is the least of our worries at this point. Forget about him. The person we need to worry about is Naruto. As Madara Uchiha could take on all 5 of us Kage and probably win. If Naruto has gained even remotely close to that strength, we are in big trouble. As Naruto is now approaching Minato's skill level, he is a bit less than it, but he could have an even fight with Minato if he goes all out, but he couldn't last long. So yeah. As Madara began, as the Raikage sat back down, saying, explain. As Onuki began to explain, Madara Uchiha was a force to be reckoned with. No one but Hashirama could fight him. And he asked Minato what his strengths were, what could he do. Minato said we really don't know any of the names for the stuff. Onuki nodded, saying as that's fine. So yeah. So now, this is when Madara, this is when Obito decides that he is going to show up. So he shows up and he says he's Madara Uchiha and he declares the 4th Great Shinobi War. But then there's a kunai to his throat. This is Naruto's. And he says for him to stop playing along on who he's gonna back in this war. But if he keeps playing like Madara, he'll just straight out kill him. And Toby gets a fear in him that he hasn't felt since a long time ago. He doesn't even know when he last felt it. So yeah. So, he tells him, fine, I'm a nobody, but I'm working for Madara. Naruto says, oh well, that works. As he then his body flickers away. But, well, actually, before he could body flicker away, the Kage asked him a question. What was Madara like? Naruto said he was just old, couldn't do much, and he just told him how to do the stuff. So, yeah. But, yeah. That's when Naruto body flickers away. And Toby says, I hereby declare war on you all. I now start the fourth great ninja war. And he then teleports away. But he also said that Killer Bee was still alive, actually. I forgot to state that one. And Killer Bee and the Raikage fight. Killer Bee with Kisame still happens. The same with the Raikage coming in, but Kisame is still alive. So yeah, and Naruto is sent, and Memma is sent to Turtle Island. Without Mito, since they found out that Mito's chakra had a time where Memma begins to start taking control of the Nine-Tails chakra, and he is trying to do that relatively quickly. That all goes the same as in canon, but the war then begins. The war is all gonna go the same since Naruto has yet to step in. He's just been watching it at this point. But then, when he sees Madara Uchiha reanimated, he jumps out onto the battlefield in front of Memma's shadow clone, as the real Memma diverts course, saying they need to go to the desert battlefield. As he then blitzes over there with Killer Bee as quick as they can. As Naruto then just began to stare at Madara, and Madara jumped down to the ground. And Madara says, I'm disappointed which was what side you chose, grandson. Naruto says, I won't let you change the world over your stupid reasons or destroy it. And everyone's kind of shocked at this. These two are having a civilized conversation before they try and fight to kill each other. And then Naruto pulls out a scroll and summons two weapons, and he tells him to take the two weapons. He wants to fight him at his full strength. His Madara is surprised, but then smiles, saying that his Uchiha blood is definitely over his Uzumaki. And then Naruto and Madara begin to fight, in a clash that no one in the entire army is willing to step into. Kushina, hearing this, Kushina already being on the battlefield, is shocked at this. And everyone was shocked, but they were like, oh well, this fight, Naruto's losing it. Until they both pull out their perfect Susanoo, and everyone sees their fists clash. A shockwave is felt over the earth one time. And as everyone stops fighting and looks over, as HQ says, Madara telling them that, and then saying that Naruto Uchiha, or Uzumaki, is fighting him right now. So to just keep fighting and go to the desert. That they'll need every man to defeat Madara. This is where Obito decides to relocate and do the new final battle, where he'll resurrect the Ten Tails. As Obito or Toby appears with his Rinnegan, and he asks how his thing got desummoned. And he says Madara says that Naruto summoned it. And then he'll deal with Naruto and points over to the shinobi forces. It says, deal with them. Obito says, as you went. He said, okay. And Obito's gonna jump down to where Madara will soon beat Naruto. Actually, and after seeing this, Naruto's lifeless-looking body will drop down to the floor. And Madara says he won't kill him, since he is his grandson after all. And that he'll let him see the dream world, to live a nice life for once in his life. For once. As then Madara proceeds to fight the 5 Kage with 0 difficulty. And he pulls out the wood 5-on-1 strategy early and has them all go Susanoo, basically making all the shinobi there regret all their life choices. This is when Sasuke arrives. Sasuke, seeing Naruto knocked out, knowing that he was the only one to stand a fighting chance, runs over to him. Sasuke still had the same confrontation, but he decided to leave Itachi since Itachi told him that saving Naruto to save Naruto. And in that conversation, Itachi said that Naruto was trained by Madara, and that if he can get him up, then they have a chance against Madara together. And Sasuke said, okay. Just after Madara defeated the 5 Kage, he begins to start walking towards the allied shinobi forces, and he leaps towards them. The front shinobi are terrified as they begin to try and take a step back, but they run into the people behind them who want to fight. Half the people want to fight Madara since they don't think he could beat this many people. But as he leaps towards them, something quicker than anyone can see, including Menma, kicks him back into a boulder. The Kage are just barely up watching it at this point, as Tsunade rushes over to heal them. It's Sasuke, and Naruto's gotten up too, but he's not in the best condition. A healing ninja offers to heal him, and they heal him. Naruto, now fully up with Sasuke, are each eager to fight Madara, so they begin to start assaulting him together. Even though they're both extremely powerful, none of them can really, they can't really beat him. The 5 Kage still won't be brought back to life, because I feel like the altercation when Tobirama finds out that an Uchiha saved the world would not be fun, by any means. But yeah, since Orochimaru doesn't get brought back to life, So, now, Naruto and Sasuke continue to have their clash with Madara, and they're struggling right now, and as all the shinobi watch, just trying to comprehend what is happening. To them, Naruto begins to have a field day against the shinobi. He's honestly taking a stroll. Then he tells Obito to take over, that he'll protect the thing. Once Obito takes over the fighting, Obito's mask will get destroyed by Menma, and it's revealed that he is Obito Uchiha, which further demoralizes some of the stronger ninja, including Kakashi, Guy, as well as Kushina, seeing as she really liked Obito. Even though Kushina is really kind of useless in this war. As everyone says, a lot of people are saying they need to make a push to Naruto, saying that him and Sasuke are the only ones that can beat the third Madara. But currently, they are having a talk with the Sage of Six Paths. Since they're such, allies, the Sage of Six Paths is having a talk with both of them at once. And he explains everything. Which, Naruto and Sasuke are taking in. He just gives them, his chakra, and Naruto gets the, So Naruto gets the same side that he does, and Sasuke gets the same side. Naruto being, After this, the final assault to try and get back Naruto and Sasuke's body is made. With everyone having to accept that this is the only way they even stand a chance against Madara. So, they begin to push. And they're making a lot of progress until they can't. They're able to get Tsunade up there, but Tsunade hesitates on healing both of them. She doesn't feel like she can do it. She remembers the prophecy, and she remembers how Jiraiya said it was 100% Menma and Mito, but she can't. Someone then slaps her on the back of the head. This is Kushina, who says to heal them. But that's when Naruto's wounds start healing by themselves. So does Sasuke's, as both of their eyes go wide. That's when Madara kicks them both away, saying as no one's healing them today. Madara then finds out that Tsunade is Hashirama's grandchild. And he said, oh, it looks like someone's grandchild turned out weaker than mine. Oh well. This pisses off Tsunade, who charges at Madara, but Madara just punches her and she goes flying, basically taking her out of the fight. She's still conscious, as Madara soon leaps. No, after this, the Ten Tails is brought back to life, and Black Zetsu starts controlling Obito, and has him bring Madara back to life. Madara does lose his eyes when he's brought back to life, but Naruto, he's able to get back his Rinnegan, so yeah, to be demoralized to fight. And Obito is weak at this point because he's done a lot of the fighting. This is all going to Madara's plan. But yeah, so now after Obito, after Madara's brought back to life and has the Rinnegan back, he kills Obito, saying that he was just a pawn for his little plan and that he doesn't care. That he was just a guy that was dumb and didn't know his place in the world. So yeah, then Madara begins to turn his attention onto the allied shinobi forces. Ten Tails Madara absorbs the Ten Tails, becomes a Jinchuriki, sending a black orb at them. But that's when they see something quicker than they can even perceive. Naruto kicks the orb back at Madara. Madara barely dodges it and wonders who that was. And then he sees Naruto having a blade that is all black and 5 orbs behind him, with also a Rinnegan in his right eye. And soon Sasuke appears, as Naruto asks him if he wants a blade. And Sasuke said sure. I'm going to explain why Naruto has the Rinnegan right now. Naruto has the Rinnegan because, he has the Rinnegan because, I can't remember. Oh, because the Sage 6 Fast Chakra is Senju Chakra, basically. So, the Rinnegan will be unlocked because we all know that Senju and Uchiha Blood unlocks the Rinnegan. So yeah, Naruto is standing there, and Sasuke got the Rinnegan, Naruto, and Sasuke says, oh well, I'm still stronger than you, and Naruto says, okay, let's see then. As then, they both began to fight Madara. In the original, they couldn't keep up with Madara, but I'm gonna say that they each got a much higher boost, that they're each around high Kage level. But Hashirama would be stronger than them individually still. But they're still putting up a fight. That is when Naruto, after they get knocked back at one point, Naruto then begins to say that he can't lose. And he's gonna get the main character bonus, where he becomes just as strong as Hashirama was. And so does Sasuke, because I need them both to be strong, and plot armor. Because plot armor is a very real thing in Naruto. But yeah, they each begin to assault Madara again. And this time they're making progress. They're able to land a few hits. But time is running out. Madara will soon cast Infinite Tsukiyomi. As Naruto asks Sasuke if he can hold off Madara for a bit, then he'll cut down the tree. As Naruto moves to cut down the tree with his perfect Susanoo, something stops him. This something, realizing that the Infinite Tsukiyomi is already about to happen, that he's out of time, his blade won't make it, he makes a bunch of Shadow clones. He tells Sasuke to get over here. As Sasuke runs into it, and Naruto tries his best to protect all the allied shinobi forces, but prioritizing protecting himself. As the light soon fades off, and he was able to protect most of the allied shinobi forces. Some of them got caught in it. as Naruto then began to say for them not to even get involved in this, that he's gonna end this. Kaguya in this fight is gonna get absolutely slammed. Her interdimensional travel will not work because that's gonna be one of Naruto's Rinnegan abilities. He can use interdimensional travel and travel through different dimensions. So yeah, pretty broken Rinnegan if you ask me. But so they beat Kaguya and they seal him. When it's time for the Infinite Tsukiyomi to end, Sasuke has no grudges against Naruto, so he has no reason to back out. So they end the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Just like that. But Sasuke does ask if they can have a duel at some time, and Naruto nods, saying yeah. As then they begin to walk away talking, and everyone, all the allied shinobi forces are like, do they realize that they just saved the world? This leaves Memma absolutely broken inside, since Naruto was a child of prophecy. And he wasn't. Memma prided himself on that. That was his whole pride. It was like Vegeta when he first lost to Goku. That's how Memma feels right now. Like his pride was destroyed. He now is staring there up at the sky as Minato is regaining consciousness. As when they all return back to their villages, Minato announces that he's retiring from. Naruto decides that he's finally gonna return back to the village, since Sasuke said he would too. And Naruto walks back to the village. And when he comes back, he purchases a home and hangs up some of Madara's old stuff, since he was the one to get it. The main things he kept was Madara's, I forget what that thing was called, but it was like the big circle type thingy. I forget what it's called, though, that they, used during the war. So, yeah, after that, he, basically calms down. Really not finding any love interest, since he just likes being by himself a lot, since that's how he's lived most of his life. So yeah, eventually the village people are tired of Minato and ask him to step down, as they want Naruto back as the Hokage. After all, Naruto saved the village and the world. He should be the new Hokage. And also, people are finding out what Minato did to Naruto, and they don't want that person being their Hokage. So Naruto says he takes over the mantle of Hokage and begins to settle down. And this is gonna be where I end the what if. And thank you guys for watching. If you have any what if suggestions, leave them in the comments. And yeah, sorry for not uploading. And peace.